grenade! Taking fire over here! Close one.
Oh shit, imagine we got that last one. Or a couple more, holy shit.
Oh, hold on.
I'm not cheating, bruh.
Back up to 100, Quinn. Got your seat, Quinn.
Hey Legends, Grim Sniper here. Well, the KV inhibitor, where do we start? It's been a challenge, but I've fought through it and I've hung in there, and it's probably one of the best snipers in the game, to be honest. I honestly think there's a bit of a learning curve to using this sniper, but once you get the hang of it, I think you can probably hit some really awesome clips with this. You clicked on the video for the fastest KV inhibitor, so let's get into that. So for all your builds and for the stock, we put on the Ivanov wood stock, and what that does, it helps out with the ADS speed, movement speed and sprint speed, which is awesome. The one noticeable downside is the aiming idle sway. Also, for all your builds, for the laser, you want to put on the FSS OLEV laser. And as per usual, that's for the ADS boost, the sprint to fire boost. Also, it gives you some aiming stability as well. For the underbarrel, depending on what you've got unlocked, you can use any of these four. My personal preference is the DR6 hand stop. So these three attachments you'll pretty much have on all your build. It really help the movement and ADS and really make it snappy. Because we're making the fastest KV inhibitor, let's look at the rear grips and see which ones boost our ADS the most. So we have two options that give us an ADS boost. We have the broadside factory grip, and we have the Storm Ender assault grip as well. If you look at the Storm Ender here, you can see that it really increases your aiming idle sway. And to me, it's actually quite problematic. So it's to the point where it's not actually that feasible. I mean, if you can make it work, then great, then make it work. But for me personally, I don't recommend using this attachment. It might be viable with a smaller optic on it if you can bear it. For me, on the larger scopes, it really bounces around and it's really hard to aim and hard to get used to, so I wouldn't recommend using this attachment. So for the broadside factory grip, it doesn't really help out your ADS speed as much as the Storm Ender we just looked at, but what it does is it really helps out with your sprint to fire. And also, if we look at the pros and cons here, it helps out with your movement speed, and you don't have that penalty to your aiming idle stability like we did on the Storm Ender. And for the barrels, I don't know if it's worth putting a barrel on. I mean, if you look at all the stats here, they're all sort of up and down and all over the place. You get as many pros as you do cons. So for me, potentially put the Custovia LPM 12 on. You get a bit of an ADS boost and a really good boost to your sprint to fire there. So that's probably the best barrel to put on. And to me, that's how you'd achieve the fastest KV inhibitor build. And that to me is a realistic build that's going to be easier to use. It's not going to be really easy to use, but it's going to be easy to use than putting some of the other attachments on that are actually detrimental to the build and make it really hard to use. So this is the first build that I recommend for the fastest. Another way to achieve a really fast build is put on the Schlager Night View optic. And this optic is really easy to use. It's really easy to line up, and it really assists with being aggressive with a sniper. So this will be my second build that I recommend that's really, really fast. But if I'm completely honest, when I was using the default scope, I was actually struggling with it a lot. I found it was bouncing around a lot and I couldn't hit my shots. And it got to the point where I was getting pretty frustrated using the default scope, to the point where I wasn't even going to do a video on the KV inhibitor. But the one thing that changed things for me and really turned it around, it changed this gun into a really average gun, into an awesome sniper, was actually changing out the rear grip. So changing out the rear grip for me and putting on this Ivanov ST70 grip, this really changed it for me. It was an absolute game changer. And what it did is it really improved that aiming idle sway, and that enabled me to hit my shots. That made it really, really consistent to the point where it wasn't bouncing around all over the place. I think the problem with the sniper, and the thing I was getting frustrated with, is that it was bouncing around everywhere, which made it really hard to use, and it took a lot of getting used to. This build here that I'm about to recommend is my third recommended build, and this is my preferred build, and this build you'll see it in most of my clips. So what you can do is actually put on the high grain rounds, and what that will do is give you a bit more bullet velocity and help with the damage range. So it's going to reduce those hit markers at a longer range. You're going to be able to line up your shots as well because your scope's not bouncing around all over the place. One of the strengths to the KV inhibitor is actually staying aimed down sight, effectively hard scoping, which I don't recommend. You're probably going to see the snipers out there hit some incredible clips with the KV inhibitor because you can just clean up so many more and get 3 or 4 quickly as well to finish off a really good clip. And I've got one more attachment that I recommend that you can use on the larger maps. What you can do is actually take that off, and there is actually a really good barrel here. And as you can see, this CAS-10 mod barrel really helps out with that effective damage range. So on those bigger maps, you're not going to get any hit markers at all, really. As I said, though, this is definitely my recommended build for an all-rounded gun. It's easy to use. You can hit your shots. It's fast enough to put a bit of razzle-dazzle movement in there. So try it out. Let me know what you think on all the builds. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And might catch you next one, eh? Cheers for watching.
Covering your six. Pasted that one. Get to cover.
Oh, what a way to start.
Taking fire.
Ooh, that was nice. That last one sucked it in the end. Odd kill. Bad.
Fire. Bust. Took around. Taking fire. On your six. X-ray down. X-ray down. I'm taking effective fire. Took around. Sniper's done. Sorted that one.
Standing by. The advanced SAE ready to launch.
47 and 15.